For our story today in Hunter Biden news, someone thinks that Hunter Biden is so involved with foreign entities that he actually should register as a foreign agent under federal law, which I think is just the most hilarious way that this story could possibly develop. Hunter Biden has been so involved with Burisma and Ukraine and getting cash for reasons unknown from various entities. Why is he getting all this money from these people? What would be the possible motivation of getting this money? Who could say what it could possibly be? And someone thinks that he's so involved that he should actually register as a foreign agent. I love it. I love it very much. Let's get started with this. A federal lawsuit has been filed against the United States Justice Department seeking to force Hunter Biden to register as a foreign agent that is acting on behalf of an international entity, state-controlled entity. So if you want to be an agent for a foreign government, you can. You just have to tell the federal government about it, because the federal government would like to know that you're acting on behalf of the foreign entity, because of course the United States as a sovereign entity has the right to know when it's doing business with other countries, right? Because that goes to international relations. And so if you're acting as an agent for a foreign government, the United States might want to know that, because the United States has the right to decide what relationship it would like with said foreign entities. And since you are an agent for those foreign entities, that's kind of important. So yeah, please tell us about it so that we know that, so that we know exactly who it is we're dealing with. The American First Legal Foundation argues that Hunter, who, reminder, is 53 and not just merely a wayward child in his youth that has somehow lost his way, should register under the Foreign Agents Registration Act for his lucrative work on behalf of the Chinese and Ukrainian figures, including during his father's vice presidency. The defendant's refusal to require Mr. Biden to register as a foreign agent denies American First Legal, which must publicly disclose pursuant to the Foreign Agent Registration Act, which there is a statutory right. Yeah. So, of course, everyone else has to play by these rules to the extent that they are doing that. The foreign governments, can't work surreptitiously. The foreign governments have to work with the United States in sort of an open way, because the United States as a sovereign entity decides, if we want to play with you or recognize that you exist, because that's also an option. The United States denies your very existence. So we would like to know who it is we're talking to, and they have to play by this rule. So why shouldn't Hunter Biden? It's great. The filing asked the United States District Court for the District of Columbia to compel the defendants to require Mr. Biden to register as a foreign agent in compliance with the Foreign Agent Registration Act. Fun and exciting. It's unclear if the litigation has ever prompted Justice Department to enforce this law. So I don't know if this has ever been done before in any context. This might be the first time anyone's ever tried this particular avenue. I'm certainly not aware of anyone trying to privately enforce this. I'm not sure that this is legally a thing, but I appreciate that someone's trying to figure out if it's legally a thing. Experts on the law say it has little chance of working, and it's unlikely that he qualifies as a foreign agent under operative law, which, maybe. Also, can a private citizen enforce this is doubtful. So is this legally viable? I have my doubts. But the fact that someone is trying to expose this is kind of hilarious, no matter which way the legal gavel falls. Although the Justice Department has invited private parties to provide tips on FARA violations, so there's a hotline number that you can call, they say that there is no private right of action to enforce this, which sounds probably correct. So yeah, I am doubtful that this is viable. But then, I don't know. Maybe there's some way to get in there under the Administrative Procedures Act or something to force it. I don't know if you can try, but someone's looking at an option. So can someone do this privately? I have my doubts, but hey, you got to try. Someone's got to try for the first time to find out if it's possible. So I'm not sure if this has ever been done. I have my doubts, but someone's got to try it, and these guys are going to give it a go. It will be tossed out immediately, and it's only a messaging action, not the legitimate legal action, the anonymous attorney said. They may be right. They probably are right. It may very well be tossed out very quickly, but we'll see how it progresses. Still, the lawsuit is likely to force reaction from the Justice Department, which ignored a complaint filed by the same group in March. So the American Legal Foundation, American First Legal Foundation, tried to bring this to the Justice Department's attention through the hotline, as it were. That didn't go anywhere. So it's like, oh, you've invited us to provide it and you're ignoring us, so let's try a different avenue. This entire organization is led by advisor Stephen Miller and has won some issues before, so they're not completely a farce, including forcing the release of Obama-Biden administration emails that had detailed Hunter Biden's communication with executive branch officials. So this foundation has done work and has gotten some success as well. Hunter Biden, whose legal team did not respond to a request, was not hit with the FARA charges in the probation-only plea deal. So Hunter Biden, who of course is just a youthful miscreant, a 53-year-old youthful miscreant who has simply lost his way, has reached a plea deal on at least some charges, and the FARA violation was not among them. Instead, pleading guilty to 2 misdemeanor tax counts and a diversion for a felony gun violation that will be expunged after 2 years. The lawsuit focuses in particular on Hunter Biden's relationship with CEFC, China Energy, which, as the name implies, is a Chinese government-linked entity. Said entity reportedly transferred about $5 million into Hunter Biden's account within 10 days of a WhatsApp message in which Hunter invoked his father and threatened unspecified payback and retribution if an agreement, which is also unspecified, is not fulfilled. So we can't help noticing Hunter Biden, who is merely a wayward youth of 53, seems to have gotten about $5 million from China Energy, which is linked to the Chinese government, within 10 days of specifically invoking his father, who he said was sitting next to them, waiting for their call and text message. So that might suggest that Hunter Biden has some sort of ties with Chinese energy, some of which might be said to influence U.S. government policy. So the idea that he is a foreign agent is not exactly completely absurd. An email that was retrieved from the Hunter Biden laptop, which, is totally not a real thing. There is no Hunter Biden laptop. It's all Russian disinformation, don't you know? So that's exactly why, of course, it's good that Facebook and Twitter and everyone else took those stories off the reporting, because it's all a bunch of fake news of Russian disinformation. But if it were real, the emails show that the CEFC Energy chairman offered a 3-year consulting contract with the energy firm to pay $10 million annually just for introductions. Wow, that's a lot of money just to get you to say hi to someone. I'm going to pay you $10 million every year. Well, geez, it seems like it's worth it to them for the $10 million every year. That's a lot of money to expend for an introduction. I wonder what they thought they would be getting out of the deal. And Hunter Biden is apparently the person who's going to provide this valuable connection to the foreign entity controlled by the foreign government, which is going to pay him $10 million a year. Might be in the pay of a foreign government. Maybe Foreign Agent Registration Act isn't so absurd. The deal also involved his brother, James Biden. The Justice Department last week, just to show you that they think that CEFC is in fact a foreign entity, has actually charged somebody for basically exactly this. So is CEFC a foreign entity? Well, the Justice Department seems to think so, because they recently charged a U.S. citizen, not Hunter Biden, a different guy named Gal Luft. He apparently violated the FARA by accepting $700,000 from CEFC China Energy and not telling the United States government he was a foreign agent. So, random citizen, Gal Luft, who is a U.S. citizen, took $700,000 from Chinese Energy. And the Justice Department's over here like, that's a foreign entity. You had to tell us about that so that we knew that you were working with the Chinese, so that we know who you are, because you're working with the Chinese. But Hunter Biden over here accepting $10 million apparently every single year, not a Chinese agent. Well, that seems weird that those two things would be true at the same time. He accepted the money in relation to the Maryland-based Institute for Analysis of Global Security think tank in exchange for co-hosting conferences and attempting to influence Donald Trump. So Guy, his name is Gao Luft, U.S. citizen, took $700,000 from the Chinese government to help influence the Trump administration, and that's really, really bad. You did it illegal. Why didn't you register? Oh, Hunter Biden, who accepted millions and millions of dollars, we don't see any problem there at all. Luft claims he provided the FBI with information in 2019 about Biden's family's involvement with the organization as well. So he, turned over some evidence to the government as part of him being prosecuted. It's like, hey, I'd like a break on being prosecuted. I could turn over some information relating to some other people that are working with the CEFC, because I'm an agent for the CEFC. So I can tell you about some other people that are also agents for the CEFC. Would you, federal government, like to know about that? Yes, I would. Okay, it turns out the person is Hunter Biden. Cricket noises. Cricket noises. Cricket noises. Yeah. A former Hunter Biden business partner who's named Tony Bolinsky said he met with Joe Biden about a venture with the energy firm in 2017. And in May, an email from Hunter Biden partner James Gilner penciled in 10% of a cut for the big guy. Seems like maybe Hunter Biden is striking some deals with this foreign entity. Seems like the foreign entity is doing the deals, at least in anticipation for getting introductions and connections to potential U.S. government officials. Who might Hunter Biden have the ability to facilitate communications with, who are in the U.S. government? Unclear who Hunter Biden might be able to facilitate communications with. He's just a random derelict youth, don't you know? The October 2017 email from Hunter Biden's laptop identified Joe Biden as a participant in a call about the energy concerns attempts to purchase U.S. national gas. Former Trump campaign manager Paul Manafort, for example, was sentenced in 2018 to 60 months in prison for FAR violations on his part in relation to Ukraine, plus 30 months for other charges, including tax and bank fraud. So, you can get some serious time. Like, how about 5 years in federal prison? How about 5 years for the FAR violations when you accept money relating to the Ukraine? Oh, what's this? This guy took $700,000 from CEFC. Let's prosecute the shit out of him. Hunter Biden took several $1 million, and there's a link, 10% for the big guy. Don't see any problem here. So this organization would like to force the registration. Thus, that brings us to the end of the story about Hunter Biden, who has been somewhat tied to CEFC China Energy, which the United States Department of Justice believes is merely a entity of the Chinese government, because they've already charged someone for violation of FARA for not registering, because they took $700,000 in order to help facilitate meetings with Donald Trump. And over Hunter Biden, who could he possibly facilitate meetings with? Unclear. So this lawsuit wants to seek to force it. I'm not sure there's a private right of action here. This may very well be dismissed, but just goes to show you the absurdity of the whole thing. And that, for the moment, brings us to the end of discussion of this story.